A very good evening to you once again. Thank you so much for tuning in and welcome to the second edition of UBC News Tonight. My name is Michael Jordan Lukumwa and this is what we have for you. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has tasked Ugandan farmers to embrace good farming practices and mechanized agriculture in order to increase productivity. Museveni says that the government is leading in the mechanization drive by coming up with innovations that are aimed at increasing agriculture production in the country. He said this while flagging off heavy earth-moving agricultural equipment at Namalere Agricultural Referral Mechanization Center, as we see in this report.
The Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, using a grant of $48.5 billion from the government of Japan, prioritized procuring heavy earth-moving equipment. This was aimed at developing infrastructure and increasing access to water for agriculture production and mechanization. President Museveni has today flagged off this equipment. The equipment that includes tractors is to be given to farmer groups and agriculture inspectors across the country. Addressing the gathering at Namalere Agricultural Referral Mechanization Center, Museveni tasked farmers to embrace farming practices that will increase productivity.
What we call agro practices, good agro practices, like for instance having trenches along the contours which can capture the water and keep it there, having spacing, using fertilizers, so that, and irrigation, because that's what Dr. Muranga is doing. That's where she has gone from the Banyankore 5 tons to 53 tons, 10 times.
He added that government is at the forefront of transforming agriculture through mechanization.
These equipments, some of them are for planting. You can also use them to plant. Some of them can pump water. I have seen one where I am normally a customer, the one of Okweya dams. Okweya, what you fellow you would call in your language, desilting. I saw it there. They need to come and help me because my dams are now full of papyrus and all that. But with the long arm, it can pull out the vegetation, but also pull out the omshayo.
Museveni also commended the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries for assembling the tractors in Uganda.
I want to congratulate agriculture for this Garibindi Banangi. But I say kwambara Garibindi zirabako. So where they are moving now with their partner, Cooper something, there was a Mzungu who was here. They will now start making some of the parts here, manufacturing them here. So the value made here will no longer be 40%, it will be more than that. And in the end, we can make the whole tractor here.
On his part, the Minister for Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, Frank Tumwebaze, enumerated the ministry's plans aimed at mechanizing agriculture in the country.
To date, the Department of Agriculture, Infrastructure, Mechanization and Water for Agriculture Production has accomplished some of the following. We are completing setup and operationalization of so far 5 mechanization centers: Mbale, Bungoko, Agwata in Dokolo, Chiriandongo, which we are yet to complete, Namalere, this very one, and Buwamba. But Namalere is the referral for all. More 14 are to be set up in the subsequent financial years over a 5-year period in the respective zones of the country.
The ministry, however, called upon the government to avail more funds to the sector to fund research.
We need to support research because without research, agricultural development is impossible. Your Excellency, you recently visited Vietnam. We were better than Vietnam some time back, but because they put in a lot on research, that is why they have overtaken us, but we shall also overtake them.
The agriculture mechanization equipment procured by the ministry includes bulldozers, motor graders, excavators, station wagons, double cabin pickups, low bed carrier, vibrant rollers, wheel loaders, and mobile workshop. Mary Namkose, UBC News.
President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has commended Uganda Industrial Research Institute for the outstanding job it has done, not only in transforming a dead institution into a center of excellence in research and development, but also making significant contributions to our country's industrialization agenda, especially in the area of technology development and industrial skills enhancement. This was contained in a speech read for him by Vice President, retired Major Jessica Lupo, who represented him at the celebrations to mark 20 years of existence of the Uganda Industrial Research Institute in Namamve industrial area. Museveni said that when he assented to the bill of parliament establishing Uganda Industrial Research Institute, the objectives of the institute were to undertake applied industrial research and develop and acquire appropriate technology in order to create a strong, effective and competitive sustainable industrial sector for the rapid industrialization of the Republic of Uganda.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Congratulations to Uganda Industrial Research Institute.
For innovation to be sustainable, there must be an enabling environment. And one of the aspects of enabling environment is peace and security. So that the scientists can be in the laboratory with a free mind, without thinking about whether he is safe or he is not safe. So I'd like to pay tribute to you and the team for that background that you laid for Ugandans in order to create the enabling environment which the scientists in Uganda are now exploiting in order to make science, technology, and innovation a key driving factor in socio-economic transformation. When there was a science exhibition in Kololo a month ago, when one of the ministers himself confessed that I am now a converted person, I now believe in your science, technology, and innovation. Isolated individuals were wondering, is what the minister is speaking true or it is not true? Until the satellite went up. So what she's saying is that people, Ugandans should have confidence in their own scientists. And Professor and Minister, I'm going also to be one of the voices to drum up support to have for people in Uganda to have confidence in our scientists. The scientists also told me that when the engine is running, there is something called combustion. Is it combustion? You don't stop it anyhow. Like the aircraft is in the air and it's running very well. It has to have a system which stops it systematic, but not just stopping it in a shocking manner. So at that time I applied it to the Ugandan politics currently. That His Excellency the President is now flying very well and it should not be given in. The scientists now know what I'm meaning. So I am here to represent him to read the speech, which is for science, but it's very important that we also share this aspect. In short, I intend to communicate to you and also suggest to you that we should support His Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the President of the Republic of Uganda, in 2026 general election.
That is Her Excellency, the Vice President, the retired Major Jessica Alupo. Uganda needs to focus its efforts in domesticating technologies, since innovations in technology have been proven to achieve a range of economic outcomes. While receiving the report on the national strategy of the Fourth Industrial Revolution from the National Task Force, Prime Minister Robin Anabanja said that the Fourth Industrial Revolution presents a fundamental way of doing business, imploring stakeholders to embrace it in solving Uganda's development challenges.
The expert National Task Force on the Fourth Industrial Revolution, chaired by the former Minister for ICT, John Nasasira, has handed over the report of the national strategy of the Fourth Industrial Revolution to the Prime Minister, Robin Anabanja. The Prime Minister, Robin Anabanja, said Fourth Industrial Revolution presents a fundamental way of doing business, including helping farmers better manage their planting as well as combating disease.
Their herds and market their products without the inconvenience of having to deal with middlemen, sometimes who are corrupt. Going forward, the Fourth Industrial Revolution, improving how teachers prepare for lessons, how they relate with students, and subsequently how they transfer knowledge to the society.
The fourth revolution technologies include those in the physical world, like autonomous vehicles, advanced robotics, new materials and 3D printing, and in the digital world there is artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, blockchain, cloud computing, and the biological world. Technologies include neurotechnology, bioprinting, and genetics. The task force came up with terms of reference like identifying national challenges and risks for adoption of Fourth Industrial Revolution. Fourth Industrial Revolution can help Uganda realize a Fourth Industrial Revolution hub that enables a smart and connected Ugandan society.
Knowledgeable and productive population by leveraging emerging technologies. And third, to generate jobs through the export of technologies, digitally traded services, automated financial services, and digitally augmented logistics and trade. First, concentrated on the notion that since technology innovation can achieve a range of economic outcomes, Uganda must focus its efforts on domesticating the technologies with the most significant potential to solve Uganda's challenges.
The Minister for ICT and National Guidance, Dr. Chris Baryomansi, says government has to move fast to harness the new technologies like artificial intelligence, 5G technologies to catch up with developed countries.
We talk of Internet of Things. Now we have vehicles which just drive themselves and they coordinate without a human driver. The other day I was being introduced to 5G technologies. We are now in mining, because sometimes mines kill people. Now there are trucks which use 5G technologies. You can only manage them from an office, and they do mining. They go underground, get the minerals without human beings managing them physically.
As Uganda comes up with a strategy to harness and grow the Fourth Industrial Revolution technologies, Africa still lags behind in the First, Second, and Third Industrial Revolution technologies, to include electricity, nuclear energy, and computers. I'm Nafka Farida and Joel Vubia in Kampala.
MTN Uganda has pledged to construct a dormitory at the Salama School of the Blind as part of their relief support following the recent fire disaster at the school located in Mukono district. According to the Chief Executive Officer, MTN Uganda, Sylvia Molinge, this project is expected to start soon. The telecom company is responding to a request made by First Lady and Minister for Education and Sports, Mrs. Janet Museveni, for support to rebuild Salama School for the Blind, where a girls' dormitory was gutted by fire in October this year, killing a number of visually impaired children. Mrs. Museveni met with the chairman of the MTN Uganda Limited, the chairman board, MTN Uganda Limited, Mr. Charles Mbire, and the new executive director, Sylvia Molinge, who paid a courtesy call on her at State House Entebbe. She welcomed the new MTN Chief Executive Officer and commended the company's social responsibility, which she said has gone a long way to improve lives in communities. Among the things discussed during the meeting included matters of national importance, possible areas of partnership between MTN Uganda and the Ministry of Education, and how MTN Uganda can further make sustainable contribution to the development of the country. The MTN bosses appreciated the First Lady for hosting them and committed to work with the Ministry of Education and Sports to establish how the telecom company can structure its existing programs to enrich and enhance business, technical, vocational education and training initiatives. Masaka. Now, Masaka City is famous for the country's sweetest taste of grasshoppers, commonly known as Ensenene, a business that has boomed in the area since the late 80s. Have you ever taken keen interest to know the process taken to collect and trap these seasonal insects? The snack doesn't come on a silver plate, as it has constraints attached to it. UBC TV's Ivan Juko explored this business from the area it started at Nyendo Mukungwe in Masaka City and filed this report.
MTN kutusako Shimba Life ku Kampala Serena Hotel Victoria Hall Friday nga mwena December Neku Saturday nga 10 December Okuingira shinji mtwalo 15 Emeze likaba ntomunana ya milioni 3 Hate alebadi wagulanga mchari Mtwalo 10 Eno 2 days mega concert Ku Sunday nga 11 Freedom City 16 December Chotela Mchawe 17 December Mbarara Ajip Motel 18 December Fort Porto Au Mobuhinga Stadium Connections mtwalo kumu VIP mtwale 3 Beautiful Shimba Swag Mama Ice Cream Queen Kama Wakukonko na nyimba zezona hit to hit Kati musale wunga buchalava Tusale ko Serena Mwitino wana bubaira mos butekelo Wabana bubasiri ya pizza matuga mpuma Kati events Yeti setinze Ne
MTN. Welcome to the Living Room Stadium. It's the FIFA World Cup. The match is about to start. Food and drink ready. There's no space left for anyone. Come on, get your lucky chair. Take your usual spot. Even the puppy has one. It's preparation time. You can feel the tension in the air. And do you have everything you need to believe?
Paying for groceries the old way.
3, 4, yeah.
Allow me. Paying for groceries with the My Airtel app. You have the power in your pocket. The power to conveniently pay for goods and services. Unlock that power with the My Airtel app. Visit the App Store or Google Play now.
That's my wife.
Leaders who care create a good learning environment. Because a good school equals a better life.
Raising voices. Meet Professor Petero. He knows something every hustler in UG is gonna love.
Just get Airtel Money Pay so that all money comes direct to your business wallet and only you, the owner, have access to it.
Just dial *185 *10 hash and now you are on. No waiting. Yes, become a safer and more efficient cash-free business today.
No mixing your business money with your Kameza money.
Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
It's true what people say, that when I wash and you wash your hands with soap, we'll have less infections as Ugandans. After all, it's hands that handle money. It's hands that feed us. Hands that prepare soil for farming. Hands that we use to learn. And hands that we use for fun.
When I wash and you wash, it means clean hands for all. So, wash your hands with soap and clean water regularly to keep away infections and disease-causing germs. This message is from the National Hand Washing Secretariat with support from UNICEF.
UBC News Tonight. Uganda People's Congress, together with the members of Parliament of Bugisu Sub-Region, have joined with the family to condole the loss of Professor Patrick Masete Kuya, who died on the 22nd of November in Kenya. This was during a Thanksgiving remembrance celebrations at St. Andrew's Church in Bukoto.
Uganda People's Congress, led by Miria Obote, Jimmy Akena, the party president, and Bugisu Sub-Region members of parliament, together with the family of the late Professor Patrick Masete Kuya, attended and condoled with his family for the loss of Professor Kuya. Professor Patrick Masete Kuya served under Obote government as the Minister of Rehabilitation from 1980 to 1985, passed on 22nd November in Kenya, and was jetted in the country on the 6th December. Among the members of parliament who attended the funeral service was the Budadiri West parliamentarian Nandala Mafabi, who remains the good works of the deceased towards the country, as he adds on to advocate for unity among the Bugisu sub-region.
I am saying Bugisu, we need to be united, to be a united force. There was no reason why when Nani went to exile, they looted his house, why they destroyed his properties. Why they broke, you see, you understand? Why Rakasese, Chris Rakasese, who was in Ruziraya, they destroyed nothing, they kept it going.
On behalf of Uganda People's Congress, Jimmy Akena, the son of former President Milton Obote, under whom Masete served, says that the UPC strongman is one of the people who contributed greatly to the growth of Uganda.
And it did occur to me that there was no collaboration. We were one, we stood together, and through them, I kept hearing about this wonderful place.
Lydia Wanyoto, government's representative, in her keynote speech, appreciated the government of Uganda towards their contribution to sending off Professor Patrick Masete.
Government was open, and government has been part of the program that managed the process to return him. To the people of Vumbale and Bugisu as general, I would like to join our community to pass our condolences to the Masete family and the community back at home.
This function was also attended by his colleagues and family members.
Whether to go to the territory we are in now, but he did it his best way, and the signature told the university to be where it is today. And there was so much of those things, still had plans, are supposed to go through things, the guys across.
Justin Nakami, Kenneth Tanaba, UBC.
The community of Lango have learned with regret the demise of the Supreme Court Justice Ruby Opio Aweri. The 69-year-old justice was announced dead yesterday by the Chief Justice Alphonse Chigamoy Owiny-Dollo after he was admitted a few weeks ago with a stroke. The deceased is described by his kinsmen as a professional, hardworking person, peaceful, and his sense of humor was one of those things that will never be forgotten.
Let us be serious and get focused, because what we are doing is for the future.
This is the late Justice Rubo Piaweri addressing his colleagues, the All Boys of Lao College, one of the schools he was very much passionate about.
We should recollect where we have gone wrong, where we have done badly, and then we correct it. I'm sure we can still go back to where we were in the 70s.
The Supreme Court Justice and Chief Inspector of Courts Rubo Piaweri was announced dead yesterday by the Chief Justice Alphonse Owiny-Dollo. According to his elder brother, also the clan head Levi Okodi, the deceased was admitted a few weeks ago with a stroke. He was transferred from Nakasero to Mulago and was reportedly improving until yesterday when he was pronounced dead.
Health-wise, he has never suffered any ailment at all. He was a very bright boy at school, and he pursued his studies very well. He has been helping, especially me, to look after the family, to make sure our family develops. But now that burden has been left on me, and especially me alone. When I went to the hospital, he could not talk.
Okodi said his brother was an icon in the public arena.
He was a friend to all. He loved everybody. He was never chief magistrate or what, but he went straight from grade 1 to become High Court judge. His main interest, as I saw it, was mainly in forestry. He has planted trees almost everywhere in Lango and beyond.
I have always addressed the community of Dokolo jointly with Justice Ruby Piaweri. He was dearly loved. We have lost an icon. We have lost a low-profile gentleman who was so hardworking.
Former Premier of Lao Cultural Foundation, Tony Otoa, regrets the tragedy, saying the deceased was lying to mediate the two warring cultural factions.
We look forward also for the younger generation to aspire to get there. And that would mean hard work, no corruption, being faithful to your service, and professional, fair in your judgment and how you look at the judiciary.
I am very happy.
Justice Rubo Piaweri died at 69 years after a short illness. He joined the judiciary as a grade 1 magistrate in 1983 and rose through the ranks to a justice of the Supreme Court and a chief inspector of courts, a position he held until his demise. Eddie Olwa, UBC News.
A non-government organization, 7 Dots Program, has organized the boys-only station to be hosted at Mugwanya Preparatory School, Kaboja. The idea was birthed purposely to groom a responsible man, but will in turn help in other fronts, especially reduction of crime.
Between 15th and 22nd December, close to 1,000 youth aged 5 to 18 are expected to camp at Mugwanya Preparatory School, Kaboja.
And as we are all aware that these days the girls have had ample time, they have many chances of being talked to. Now I want to give the boy an opportunity to be trained, to help him live a responsible life as a boy. And you are all aware that these days there are so many mothers that are crying because of irresponsible husbands. We want to create a generation of boys that fully knows its responsibilities right from the ground, from the start as they are growing. Because this program is targeting boys from 5 years to 18 years. That's all conception age.
Participants are to benefit from a 7 Dots program that through music, sports and intellectual development activities will inculcate general life skills to the boy child.
And the main reason for this 7 days, the 7 days of responsible talks program is to work with schools and parents and also with our police, because it's the law enforcement agency, so that we groom responsible boys, because nowadays boys are becoming, to some societies, we have so many challenges that are affecting our boys, our sons. And our objective is to make sure that we create a critical mass of boys that is well equipped with tools to help them live a responsible life.
Uganda Police welcomes this initiative, at which they will tutor about law and order to the youth, who are lately, surprisingly, engaging in several crimes. This is the Pioneer 7 Dots program, but plans are to go national with the major aim of making boys learn to enable men grow.
State Minister for Higher Education, Dr. Jesse Muyingo, has advised graduates to identify issues affecting society, then use the knowledge acquired to solve such challenges in society. Muyingo was presiding over the 15th graduation of Eastbat University, Kampala.
Graduates have been urged to practice their professions by solving societal problems. This was echoed by the State Minister for Higher Education, Dr. John Chrysostom Muyingo, at the 15th graduation ceremony of Eastbat University, where more than 300 students graduated with diplomas and degrees in various fields.
We should continue developing these practical solutions that address the challenges in our community. Try to understand the problems there. Come up with solutions.
He also asked universities to invest more in research to match with the new technology, which is changing every time.
You should be charting a broader direction for innovation and knowledge transfer through incubation centers.
These technologies that are available can actually benefit Uganda as a country in taking us forward in terms of our national aspirations. But they can only take us forward if we ourselves stand up and keep changing.
Fred Jachan Omach, the Chancellor of Eastbat University, says challenges have been many. However, they have registered an achievement.
Despite the challenges that was brought by COVID-19, we had to give them to go through learning virtually. And this provided all the equipments. The lecturers were available, both physically and digitally.
An appeal to the tax policy makers through your esteemed office. Education is heavily capital intensive and it needs huge investments if we have to be at par with the global standards.
Irene Faith Nantongo, Andrew Sebida, UBC News.
Security in Lira City has asked the public to desist from buying and wearing attires that resemble official government garments. Speaking to the media at the Lira City RCC, RCT Lawrence Egole warned those with illegal military fatigue or its look-alike to surrender it immediately or ban before they get arrested. Egole said these fatigues are being used to rob citizens in the night.
As preparation for festivity climaxes, security in Lira City has issued a set of safety directives to its dwellers, including a plan to implement the recent presidential directive on COVID-19.
As Lira City, we have had experience of having some wrong elements take advantage of festive seasons to disorganize the people.
Igole said no civil servant without a vaccination card will be allowed to access any public office. Councillors without proof of vaccinations too will not attend council meetings.
And by now, all that grace period that was given for people to have themselves fully vaccinated, by any standard, there is no more excuse that can be entertained. So the directive has already taken immediate effect from the day the president made pronouncement, and we are now here to enforce. And there is no more grace period, there's no more sympathy, there's no more excuses that we are going to expect. And we are beginning to enforce it immediately.
Recently, there has been growing concerns about street kids seizing control of the city at night and robbing from the road users. Igole says security is engaging with the cultural institution to devise means of resettling back to their families. He warned people from buying military fatigue, saying anybody found with the government store will be arrested.
You cannot buy clothing, jackets and give to street children when they don't have a home. Why don't you build a village for these children and they have homes? You dress them on heavy dark jackets, in the night it becomes a tool for robbery. You see? So I'm not comfortable with some of these partners whose mission is to maintain our children on the street.
He asked the public to prioritize their personal security and urged border riders to be vigilant on whom they carry for their own safety. Eddie Olwa, UBC News.
Eddie Olwa's story takes us for a short break. Do not miss what we have in return. Thank you for watching.
MTN kutusako Shimba Lake ku Kampala Serena Hotel Victoria Hall Friday nga mwena December Neku Saturday nga 10 December Ukwingira shinji mtwalo 15 Emeze likaba ntomunana ya milioni 3 Hate alebadi wagulanga buchari Mtwalo 10 Eno 2 days mega concert Ku Sunday nga 11 Freedom City 16 December Chotela Mchawe 17 December Mbarara Ajip Motel 18 December Fort Porto au Mubuhinga Stadium One shillings mtwalo kumu VIP mtwale 3 Beautiful Shimba Swag Mama Ice Cream Queen Kama Waku Konko na nyimba zezona Hit to hit Kati musale wunga buchalaba Tusale ko Serena Mujena wana bubaira mos butekelo Wana bubasiri ya pizza amatuga mpuruma Kenti events Leti setinze
MTN.
Welcome to Friends Stadium. Everybody's ready. Wait a second, not everybody. Come on, dude, it's the FIFA World Cup. You're going to lose your seat, the ritual seat, the lucky one. Losing more than a seat, your team is going to lose. Where are you, dude? The match is about to start. Your friends won't hold out much longer. Excuse me. Finally, everything is in the right place. Hey, other hand. And you, do you have everything you need to believe?
The festive season is here and it's Christmas in 4G from Airtel. Get the most affordable 4G smartphone in Uganda, now heavily discounted from 250,000 shillings to 150,000 shillings only. Yes! 150,000 shillings only to keep you connected to your loved ones this holiday season.
Dial *175*94# to activate free 1 GB instantly and 100% double data on all weekly and monthly bundles for 3 months. Get one today while stock lasts from the nearest Airtel shop. Happy holidays this festive season with Airtel, the smartphone network.
Get value for your money by choosing the right paint. With Global Paints, you don't just paint, but paint for generations to come. Make Global Paints a paint of choice and make your building a paradise. We have weather coat emulsion, undercoat emulsion, silk vinyl emulsion, flat emulsion, super gloss and high gloss. Global Paint, a reliable product.
It's our mission to secure your money.
Protecting your money is as important as earning it. It is for this reason that the Deposit Protection Fund of Uganda, DPF, was established by the government of Uganda to provide deposit protection to customers of regulated financial institutions. In the unlikely event that your commercial bank, credit institution, or microfinance deposit-taking institution fails, the DPF will pay you up to 10 million Uganda shillings. Keep your personal information such as national identification number, mobile phone, or an alternative bank account updated with your banker. Terms and conditions apply. For more information, contact DPF at Aha Towers, Plot 7 Lodell Road, Kampala. Call 0312-206-400 or visit our website at www.dpf.or.ug.
We are the DPF. We protect your money. Protection Fund of Uganda.
Business news tonight. Uganda's electricity providers have submitted their proposed tariff applications for the third quarter of 2023 at the annual tariff review public hearing that was held in Kampala. The tariffs are expected to be announced by the Electricity Regulatory Authority early next year. End-user tariffs are reviewed and adjusted annually to cater for changes in demand, investment, and costs to meet regulatory targets.
The hearings have been open to public in a bid to ensure transparency and give citizens the opportunity to take part in the proceedings.
We are holding a public hearing to further provide the public with an opportunity to take part in the tariff review process and to voice your views or concerns with regard to these applications.
The views, suggestions, comments and objectives submitted are to be considered by the authority as it takes a decision on the tariff review applications and determination of electricity end user tariffs for 2003.
Their requests and other stakeholders' interests are put together. We analyze this information and the board finally comes up with determining the tariffs for the next financial year. And we do this transparently because we want to involve all the stakeholders in a transparent manner. So it is basically for tariff determination for next financial year. There are a number of considerations that we put across to determine the tariff, including the exchange rate, the inflation, and so on.
On this same occasion, the public has been cautioned to be vigilant and take swift action in order to curb the recent cases of vandalism, which has gently hindered the country's infrastructure development.
Recently, we even had a whole country blackout. So when there is vandalism, we cannot have power. And replacing that infrastructure costs money. So it's like we are repeating investments. So it takes the country back. Economic activity comes to a standstill. Once we don't have that power, there is insecurity. There are so many problems associated with darkness and lack of power.
The country's energy sector has registered a significant amount of progress in the previous financial year, as the number of customers on the grid has increased by over 11%. This, in turn, has led to the infrastructure expansion in the energy sector and has been a central point in the country's economic development.
We want to achieve sustainability of the different units that we have, this being one of them. The second focus is customer service excellence, where we want to improve supply and quality of service. And then the next is operational efficiency, where we want to achieve a reduced input through improved processes and motivated staff.
Our hope is that we can accelerate connecting customers and triple the numbers that we've been doing annually. And that way, the suppressed demand that the CEO was talking about can then come to play. And that way, we can utilize the effective generation capacity that we have. And as Karuma comes on board, we also have other industry players coming in. You will have noticed in our investment plan that there are some large industries where we're also supporting them with the dedicated lines because they are increasing their capacity. So we've been engaging with the large power users.
Uganda additionally has approximately 3,101 kilometers of transmission lines, which the government plans to increase to 4,354 kilometers by 2025.
We'll now take you back to our story about grasshoppers, a delicacy that is known to come from Masaka, although these days even other parts of the country have it. But our reporter pitched camp in Masaka and he has some findings to share in this report. Ivan Duko.
Grasshoppers, locally known as Insenene, are bush crickets that migrate twice a year after the rainy seasons between April to June and November to December. They are a group of insects belonging to the suborder Califera of the Kingdom Animalia, and they undergo an incomplete metamorphosis life cycle. Tracking, trapping and collecting of these insects started in Budu, Buganda County, at a local village of Nyendo Mukungwe in Masaka in the 80s. It's based on this ideology that many Ugandans think the insects swarm in Masaka, where they are trapped before their destination to other regions of the country. However, those into the business confirm the insects fly in other localities, only that the exercise was started by groups from Masaka.
Masaka is regarded as the center place for the grasshoppers. Most of the other places, they used it to catch grasshoppers locally from the bushes, using hand picking the grasshoppers. But Masaka, it's the place where people officially started the grasshopper as a business.
Nezibeera nti zakendeddewokko kye twakola kinga abantu abatandika omulimu kwe kugenda nga tugaziya bannaffe ne tubajja wano ne bagenda balumba ebitundu era buli gy'olaba bakwata ensenene bazikwata bantu bawa.
I traversed different trap and tracking sites in Nyendo at night to acquaint myself with the entire process. Time check was 8 p.m. and I thought I would start filming the process. But this wasn't the case at the 5 sites I visited first. The night skies looked occupied with a few insects. It was until 2 o'clock in the morning that I had a reason to smile at the swarms. Comparing the business in nature that calls for trapping now and then, a lot has changed. The method of trapping them in bushes and plantations seems to have phased out.
System ng'emu oba bbiri singa ensenene ziba zizze abantu batera okugula obusunku buno obuva ku ttabi ya embaawo
zagwanga mu matale naye zikwatira ku ttaala Idi Amin kasita yaleeta ebitala bino eby'oku makubo ne zijja nga zigwa ku makubo etandiko zikwatira ku makubo okwo.
Someone wants to catch grasshoppers, you need to get a drum. After getting a drum, you need to buy iron sheets. Second thing, it's the lamps, the pressure lamps. You need to buy the wires which will transfer electricity from the chokes to the lamps so that the lamps can light very well, bright light, to bring bright light in the sky. After getting the wires, you need to get the chokes. The chokes which works as the transformers or the boosters of the light.
The leaders and local communities are not hesitant to share the benefits of this business to Nyendo and Uganda in general.
Because I have 60 drums and 6 iron sheets, the period of 2 months, approximately, I can earn like 5 million. And those 5 millions, you can start a business, a small car shop.
Yazikuziza n'abaana bange koze emirimu mingi naye ogw'ensenene gwo tegusingika.
Ndabirira abaana bange okulya okunywa byonna n'okwambala.
Ninga ffe ng'abakulembeze akaseera k'ensenene tufunamu obuweerero kubanga abantu bakubafunaafunayo kaki ku kasente naye banga basobola okukola ku bizibu byabwe singa ziba zizze mu bujju.
Omulimu gwaffe omukulu wano ng'ekitongole ekitwala ab'ensenene mu Uganda kuyamba bannaffe bakulaakulanya kubajja ku ddaala erisooka bazza ku ddaala eddala.
However, the business also has a number of challenges.
This is a season which is competitive, where people know that the grasshoppers follow in pretty sums. The prices of the materials we use increases a lot. That is a challenge. And the other challenge, which is so delicate, is the electricity shock. For these people who pick grasshoppers, the challenge of the skin being burnt, the wounds, people having rough faces, that challenge becomes first on the lamps, the pressure lamps, because those lamps always use mercury. They are mercury lamps. For us to get a lot of light in the sky, even we put excess chokes, because that pressure lamp it's for 400 watts, and for us we have to double that watt so that it brings a lot of light.
Trappers also decried the heavy electric charges and taxes on the equipment, with more worry on the anticipated taxation to be imposed on them by Masaka City Council. There are also numerous beliefs, myths and cultural trends linked to the insects in Buganda.
Ekirala ensenene ezo zakwatibwanga wanedda abakyala bakwatanga ensenene wabangawo ebyawanuuzibwa ng'edda. Awo emizizo egyasookanga okukolebwa Katonda zitwalya bawanuuzanga nga bagamba nti ssente z'ensenene tibw'otunda ensenene ssente ezo tezikola business.
They used to say that a pregnant woman cannot eat grasshoppers. If you eat the grasshoppers when you are pregnant, it's likely to produce a baby with a head with apex like that of a grasshopper. There is the other saying that if you wake up in the night and you see the grasshoppers, you must not say anything about it. You must keep quiet, and you do some cultural things like folding the grasshoppers down when the head is facing down so that you can trap a lot of grasshoppers.
The beneficiaries from this informal business have, however, refuted the utterances and allegations that they use poisonous chemicals to trap them.
Kolera butto nekola ekirungo kyawe bagikutera ku sowaani akawoowo kokka n'okulozaako olyako eddekende ly'owuliramu.
People getting complaints about them. One thing is the cleanness of the equipments we use. Like us, you know that most people, they say that for us we want grasshoppers from Masaka, because they know that people of Masaka, they took the grasshopper trapping as a business. They clean their equipments, like these barrels, the drums, we use cassava flour in them, or cooking oil, so that we make the grasshoppers clean.
Ate bw'ova ku kyemmere nga n'ebiriisa ebigirimu bya waggulu nnyo. Ye kakati tuzitegesezza.
Wholesalers buy these insects from collectors, sell them to retailers in Kampala and other business towns and cities before they are taken to Natete, Katwe, Busega and other markets in Kampala. This trade business has seen trappers become wealthy. I'm Ivan Juko for UBC News.
Did you know that a cashless, secure, and convenient lifestyle is possible with Airtel Money Pay? Pay for your goods and services in the following simple steps. Dial *185*9#. Enter the merchant ID. Enter the amount. Enter payment reference, for example, school items. Please enter PIN to confirm. You will receive a confirmation message for a successful transaction. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Welcome to the Living Room Stadium. It's the FIFA World Cup. The match is about to start. Food and drink ready. There's no space left for anyone. Come on, get your lucky chair. Take your usual spot. Even the puppy has one. It's preparation time. You can feel the tension in the air. And do you have everything you need to believe?
State Minister for Sports Peter Ogwang has hailed Uganda's Senior Secondary School Sports Association for insistence on principles that will later improve the sports sector. The minister was at the Uganda Senior Secondary School Sports Association Executive Members Training at Front Page Hotel in Zana.
The sports subsector and why there are sportsmen or games masters and so on. So what if the executive of the Uganda Secondary School Sports Association has done is to, for me, I want to commend them that they are beginning from the basics, because that's what has been lacking. Like you've seen things I've been telling them. Most times they bring in students or people who are not students to come and compete in games which are for the secondary students. Sometimes also they have gone ahead to retain the same people year in, year out. And to make matters worse, some of them are even given to go to regional competitions, which have put it clearly to them as a ministry, we want only students who are at school. We want them to help us identify the raw talent which is down there within those secondary schools to participate. And this all comes with capacity building. Because what has been happening, every school is interested in winning. But are you interested in identifying the talent, in promoting that talent? No. The second message for me has again been on the issues of linkages. For instance, we have the federations. Federation is where we government work with them directly in terms of international competition. So while we appreciate that, we support secondary schools when they also go for international competition. But in terms of development of the talent of that student or that child, it must go through the federations. And
Uganda's powerlifters are bracing for this weekend's National Championship Powerlifting 2022 due this weekend at Kibbs Gym in Kisasi. Beg your pardon. Uganda's sports infrastructural crisis has received a major boost from the Heritage Usadadia family that has set up an international standards 25-meter pool in Ntinda. The elite swim and gym is a result of Usadadia family, whose child, here Hiteshis Usadadia, inspired the parent to set up the well-equipped pool to boost talent.
During those times, and one thing that kept popping up was a lack of facilities, and I never thought that they would take up my challenge so seriously. And after, I think, a few months of getting to know about the idea they had, I was asked to imagine it or reconstruct it in my game, Minecraft. And when I did, I think it sold the idea even more that, well, I was passionate about it, and they had decided to go through with the idea. My parents are very special people because, well, if you look at the idea behind this pool, it's not just for me as their son, no. This is for all the sports and swimmers in Uganda. And they've always cared about the community first and not them.
And that brings us to the end of all we had for you tonight. Right from 8 p.m. to now, we thank you so much for watching UBC TV News. My name is Michael Jordan Lukomo. On behalf of the whole team, wishing you the best of the night and the weekend that we start tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Well, good evening and a very warm welcome to tonight's weather report. My name is Molin Kinyana. Now we continue to see rains across several places within the country, and most of that is still even expected throughout tonight for most of the areas across the country, especially the southern sector, and that is because we still have rain-bearing clouds that are mostly spread across the southern sector of the country. At the same time, we also see the advection of the Congo air mass that is towards much of western Uganda. That also explains the rains that we have over that area. Tomorrow in the morning, we do expect to start off with rains. Those will be across the central part of the Lake Victoria Basin. However, much of central will have sunny intervals. Now, crossing over onto the eastern side of Uganda, we do expect rains that will be across the eastern area of Lake Victoria, but we'll also start off with a sunny day across areas within Soroti. Now, we're looking at rainy conditions for the Rwenzori area as well as southwestern Uganda, although we do expect to wake up with a mix of clouds and sunshine that will be across midwestern Uganda. Much of the northern sector, we do expect to start off with quite a pretty sunny morning over there. That will be across several places. Now later, as we cross over into the afternoon, we start to see more rains developing across central. Temperatures going up to 29. That will be quite a warm day for Nakasongola, and Kampala will be at 27 degrees. Looking at eastern Uganda, we'll see more rains developing across the eastern side of Lake Victoria. Soroti with sunny intervals and quite a warmer day at 31 degrees. Now, the western part of the country will see more rains developing for midwestern Uganda, with Masindi going up to 30 degrees. The Rwenzori area will have Kasese going up to 29, quite a sunny day, quite a warm day as well. We're looking at northern Uganda, where we do expect to have mostly rainy conditions for the central area, that is across parts of Gulu. Otherwise, the rest of the region will have mostly sunny intervals with a 31 for Karamoja. Some of the cities that we have for you outside of Uganda, we're looking at Dubai with the sunny intervals. Temperatures will be rising up to 29, and a sunny day is forecast for Cairo, while Nairobi is forecast to have mostly light showers with temperatures going up to 25 degrees. That is it for tonight's weather update. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Molin Kinyana. Have a good night.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
here and it's Christmas in 4G from Airtel. Get the most affordable 4G smartphone in Uganda, now heavily discounted from 250,000 shillings to 150,000 shillings only. Yes! 150,000 shillings only to keep you connected to your loved ones this holiday season.
Dial *175*94# to activate free 1 GB instantly and 100% double data on all weekly and monthly bundles for 3 months. Get one today while stock lasts from the nearest Airtel shop. Happy holidays this festive season with Airtel, the smartphone network.
The Ministry of Health informs the public that there are confirmed cases of Ebola in Uganda. We, however, urge the public not to panic as the situation is being managed. The Ministry of Health further reminds the public to be on the lookout for any persons who may show signs and symptoms of Ebola. These include high body temperature, abdominal pains, diarrhea, vomiting, bleeding from the body openings such as the nose, eyes, and mouth. Please inform the nearest health worker immediately if you see anyone with these signs and symptoms. To prevent Ebola from spreading further, please take the following preventive measures: regular washing of hands with water and soap, avoid handshaking and hugging, avoiding any contact with any suspected Ebola patients. Any person who dies suddenly should not be buried but reported to the nearest health worker or LC1 immediately. For further information, please call the Ministry of Health toll-free number on 0800 100-066 or send a free SMS to your report on 8500. This message is from the Ministry of Health with support from UNICEF and World Health Organization.
MTN kutusako Shimba Life ku Kampala Serena Hotel Victoria Hall Friday nga mwena December Neku Saturday nga 10 December Ukwingira shinji mtwalo 15 Emeze lika abantu mnana ya milioni 3 Hate alebadi wogulanga bujali Mtwalo 10 Eno 2 days mega concert Ku Sunday nga 11 Freedom City 16 December Chotela Mchawe 17 December Mbarara Ajip Motel 18 December Fort Portal au Mobuhinga Stadium Wonexinzo mtwalo kumu VIP mtwale 3 Beautiful Shimba Swag Mama Ice Cream Queen Kama Waku konko na nyimba zezo na hit to hit Kati musale wunga buchalava Tusale ko Serena Mujeno wana bubaira mos butekelo Wabana bubasiria pizza matuga mpuruma Kenti events Leti setinze Ne
MTN
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Hello, people of God. I'm Reverend Dr. Arthur Magezi, and I have a series of teachings entitled I Am a Soldier. These teachings are on spiritual warfare and deliverance. Thank you for viewing. Last time I gave a summary of the hexagon of spiritual warfare. We are continuing in the series I Am a Soldier. We want to understand the dominant family spirit in more depth. So we said when you participate in rituals where cows are sacrificed and goats and sheep and whatever it is, you end up burying heads of animals and making talisman and wearing them and sealing cuts on parts of your body so that your blood is covenanted with something. They smear there and they speak, saying, oh, ancestors, protect so and so and so and so. All that you are doing is entering covenant with the kingdom of Satan, and Satan is going to dominate your life, dominate your money, dominate your activities, dominate your health, can kill you, can do anything. You'll find you can't do anything without sacrifice. But you see, Jesus Christ sacrificed himself once and for all. We will talk in the details when we come to the deliverance procedure. But for now, I want us to understand that entering covenant will not only affect you during your lifetime, but it will affect your children and grandchildren and offsprings to come and generations to come. Many of us are being affected because our great-great-great-great-grandparents entered covenants, and those covenants are constantly renewed through all sorts of family rituals and all that. In Africa, you know what I mean. When we talk of ancestral worship, what we actually are meaning is very simple. We are saying that we are worshiping the demons that our ancestors entered into covenant with. And we are born in that system. And what our ancestors went through, Satan will make sure that we also go through it. We become like them. And whatever sufferings they had, then Satan will make sure he steals and kills and destroys. So you will find, as you saw in the hexagon, you'll get all the sufferings that I have put there. The economic suffering, the family suffering, the domestic suffering, the social sufferings, all those sufferings that I have put on the hexagon. It's important for you to understand this hexagon because this entire book on spiritual warfare will actually be going round and round on the hexagon. So I want us to go into some scripture. You might be asking yourself, why and how do the covenants of my ancestors affect me? Where is it in the Bible? You know, whatever I'm teaching is in scripture. And if you are a theologian and you have a time for discussion, you come and we have a more scholarly discussion. But now I am just giving quick verses. So in the Bible, it is clear. If you are blessed, you will be blessed and your offsprings will be blessed through the generations. Actually, the Bible talks about 1,000 generations. But if you're cursed, your curse also will go to your children and grandchildren and all your offsprings. So you can, the same thing as a blessing, your curse will also be passed on. So when we enter covenant with Satan, whatever we agree upon does not end with that life that physically performed the covenant. The offsprings are part of the blood. They are passed on. And because Satan is spirit, he never dies. So the same spirit which was torturing your great-grandparents will torture you also, but you will not understand sometimes. And that's what I want to talk about. Now, if you go to Deuteronomy, let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 7, verses 9 to 10. Deuteronomy chapter 7, verses 9 to 10. And I'm going to read the English Standard Version. Deuteronomy chapter 7, verses 9 and 10. And I want you to listen to the word of God. Verse 9, God says, "Know therefore that the Lord your God is God, the faithful God, who keeps covenant and steadfast love with those who love him and keep his commandments to 1,000 generations." So he blesses those who love him to 1,000 generations. But look at verse 10. It's also, and also repays. It says, and repays to their face those who hate him by destroying them. He will not be slack with one who hates him. He will repay him to his face. So, if you happen to be on the wrong side of God, you did covenant with Satan, you surrendered your life, your blood, to be in union with the kingdom of Satan, you will be repaid. You will suffer the same punishment as Satan for 1,000 generations. But if you break this covenant and you earn the blessings of God, you will find you will be blessed again to 1,000 generations. So God is God. And the Bible here it says,
he has a steadfast love for those who love him, and that means he has a steadfast hate for those who hate him. That is Satan and demons and the people who choose to follow Satan's kingdom. So when Satan enters you into covenant with him, that means you qualify for the punishment for 1,000 generations. Now that is beyond your life. That means your offsprings are going to suffer. And many of us listening to me, you never did anything wrong. You were possibly born in what we call a Christian family, but you find you are suffering things that you don't understand and you wonder why. But we have always gone to church, we have always done this and that. How come we are having this situation in our family? How come my life is going back and almost becoming like my grandfather, my father? Now I'm becoming like him. What's happening? And my son is becoming like him. What is happening? There is a dominant family spirit which is working on you. And that is what we want to deal with. Now, I said I will bring in some scripture, and let me read to you the summarized mission statement of Jesus Christ. You see, Jesus Christ came for a purpose, and that purpose is in Luke chapter 4, verse 18 and 19. Luke chapter 4, verse 18 and 19. And we will be going back to it and into some depth. And later on, we will go into the deliverance procedure, but that will come after I have covered the 6 spirits. And now I am only on one spirit, the dominant family spirit. So just be patient and we go together. So Jesus came in Luke chapter 4, verse 18 to 19. This is his mission, why he came on earth. He says, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me because he has anointed me too. Please note this. The Spirit of the Lord is upon Jesus, a human being. And he has anointed him to do a duty. I could say the same thing. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, a human being, and he has anointed me to teach deliverance. That is the purpose of my life, is to teach people. That's why God gave me the grace to study up to doctorate, to do research in the African ancestral worship and spiritual warfare, so that I may teach. But here Jesus has this big thing, and all of us who are in ministry, we just tap a little bit of it, a little bit of it. So understand, he has anointed me. So I'm back to scripture. He has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. Please understand here, to proclaim good news to the poor, that is salvation. That's why we say the good news. The good news meaning the gospel. The gospel means good news. So when someone preaches the gospel, the good news is of salvation. The gospel simply says, you are a sinner. Jesus came and died on the cross so that you may accept him. And through accepting him by grace and mercy, you are saved. That is the good news we are talking about. That you no longer have to go to hell. You can be saved. You can break away from the journey to hell and start your journey towards heaven. However, the moment you turn and start traveling to heaven, Satan is not happy. And so all the agreements that you inherited from your ancestors, Satan starts fighting you. In other words, everyone who is born again, you declared war on Satan. You announced spiritual warfare. You actually declared that you are dangerous to the kingdom of Satan. And whether you like it or not, Satan started fighting you. So some people get saved and their life becomes so hard after salvation, but they never get to understand why. I was doing my business, was running okay, and I used to sacrifice goats and sheep and cows, and my shop was doing fine. But when I got saved, And now the business is falling. I don't know what is happening. Yes, because you stopped pleasing Satan, and Satan now turned against you and is fighting you because you have a covenant. So Jesus doesn't end there because he's aware of that. He's aware that human beings are entangled in covenants with the kingdom of Satan. So what does he do? Let me read it to you now. He says the next duty, he has sent me to proclaim liberty. Liberty. That's where deliverance comes in. To proclaim liberty to the captives. So many times we read this scripture, we end at salvation only. We don't see the deliverance portion. But it's different from proclaiming good news to the poor, is different from setting the captives free. Setting at liberty the captives. That is different. And then he says, recovery of sight to the blind. So what does he mean? That means people, there are people who are spiritually blind. There are people who don't know the truth. Those are the people that he calls blind. You see, the poor here is not the poor in money and wealth. It is the poor in spirit. Actually, in Matthew chapter 5, verse 3, it says, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. So the poor in spirit are the ones Jesus came to save. So if you don't have salvation, if you have never surrendered your life to Jesus Christ, you are poor in spirit, and Jesus came to give you the good news of salvation. However, it doesn't end there. That's where we need to understand. He says, he has sent me to proclaim liberty to the captives and recovery of sight to the blind. And he said to set at liberty those who are oppressed. All that, the 3 points there, is deliverance. It is deliverance. So Jesus came and he delivers those who are already saved. In other words, the first stage of deliverance is salvation. After salvation, then you go to the next step of breaking away from the covenants with Satan. And when you break away from covenants with Satan, then verse 19 comes in. Verse 19 is prosperity, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor. So when you break away from the kingdom of Satan, you get the favor from God. When you get favor from God, you get healed, you get blessed, you get wealthy, you get influential, you are prospering spiritually, mentally, physically.